Welcome back, everybody, to another convo with us. Joining us today is Marcos Mena. I think I said that correctly, of Standards. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Thanks for joining us. You had dropped a new single. You guys have a new album coming out, and obviously we're going to talk about all that stuff. But before we get into all that, kind of for all like our listeners and viewers, can we give like a little background into you guys? Like, how'd you get your start in music?
Sure, yeah. My name is Marcos, and I'm the guitarist of Standards. We're kind of a weirder band because we just have guitar and drums, and there's also no vocals. So it's like completely instrumental. It's mostly based on like guitar riffs and drums and stuff. So a lot of people that are big fans of like guitar and drums are big fans of us. And also we kind of identify with the math rock scene. So that's more focused on like weirder stuff like odd time signatures and stuff like that. So we started releasing records in 2018.
Okay.
And we did a couple EPs, and then we did our first big album, but it was in the middle of COVID. So we never really got out there as far as like touring. We did like a couple of tours. We went and played like a festival in the UK and all stuff. So now we're kind of back. We just went back to Europe again, and we're about to do our full length tour, our first like big headliner tour, which is really, really cool. But it's been a lot of like social media, getting riffs out there on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and stuff. And yeah, it's exciting to be back out and releasing our new album, Fruit Town, which is out on July 22nd. And yeah, just out there and doing it.
Yeah. 2018, you guys are fairly new, only a few years now. And I guess how'd you guys come together? Because like you said, it's just two of you. And then also,
yeah,
how'd you guys like come up with the name Standards?
Sure, yeah. So I was going to Cal Arts at the time, which is like a school just north of LA. And so every day it was, listening to lots of really like interesting experimental music, like hearing things I'd never really heard before. And so it was this really nice like melting pot of stuff. And so that's kind of why I started playing around with just writing for guitar only. And then I thought like, okay, maybe I'll add drums. So I linked up with a drummer there, and he was only in the band for a bit, but he and I came up with the name Standards. And we ended up like doing a bit of touring, but I ended up going with another drummer who's a really good friend of mine named Forrest Rice, and he was the one that actually played on all the other releases besides the first one.
Yes.
So that's kind of what him and I would always come up with the releases and stuff. But of course, he plays in a much bigger band called Covet, which I'm a huge fan of.
Definitely.
And so he was like the perfect drummer for me to get to play on the releases. But live, I would always have like different drummers, like based on who's available. So he was kind of like the blueprint, anyways, for all that stuff. But yeah, like that, he's also the drummer on the new album, and I'm very happy with like how it all turned out. I feel like because we've done it so many times now, it's really gotten to a point where I'm like very, very proud of it.
Okay. And I gotta ask, what's with the fruit?
The fruit, it's just cute, man, because like, I feel like since we have no lyrics, we have no like other things, there's like imagery to connect it to, but it's very like the music. I always write very happy music. I can't really help it. Even when I'm writing like heavier like stuff, like because it's guitar, it's really easy to make like heavy riffs or something. It still sounds happy. Like when I think I've made something that's like darker, I show it to someone, they're like, oh, this is really cheerful, it's really happy. So I'm just like, okay, well, this is my thing now. So, but fruit is sweet. It's really good for you. It's easy to eat. I don't know. I think that's kind of just what we are as a band too.
I mean, it definitely, like you said, it definitely stands out and like it's eye catching like right away. It's like, oh, okay, I see. There's like definitely...
Exactly. Yeah, and people come to shows dressed as fruit. People will like bring fruit and hand it to us like on stage. So I love it. I feel like it's the perfect thing for us and for me.
Cool. In your own words, because you kind of like you did a little bit, but could you kind of like describe your sound?
Yeah, like I think it's a like very instrumental, but it's very like catchy, very bouncy, like riffs, like upbeat and energetic. And definitely like a lot of like math rock, prog rock influence, like a little bit of like jazz, a little bit of like heavy metal stuff. So it's definitely been like all my musical journey put into a lot of these songs.
And you guys, like you said, you guys are like a math rock. So could you like just define what math rock is?
Yeah, sure. I'm hesitant to use the word because it's not really a genre. Like they basically created like an other category and that's like math rock is, because there's a lot of math rock bands that don't sound at all similar.
Yeah.
But like on paper, what they would say is that it's bands that use odd time signatures. So instead of counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, we would count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. And so there's a lot of interesting ways that like as musicians we can like take these and do something really interesting with them. So a lot of bands really make this like their sole focus. And like I wouldn't say it's our sole focus, but it's something that we like to incorporate because again, I went to school for music and I learned so many cool things. It's hard to like not do it sometimes because it's like this is just I just think this way now. Yeah. So a lot of bands really go all out. Like they have the spreadsheets, they have all this stuff, and then like there's like memes even now where like if at a math rock show and then it shows a guy with like a calculator or something, like it's really like a whole meme, but it really just means a lot of bands that take advantage of these like interesting rhythms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, as an instrumental group, obviously being able to take advantage of more stuff is probably like super beneficial for you guys.
Yeah, and I think it's what people want to listen to also, but I think there's a lot of bands that are instrumental and they're not going too outside of like the realm of accessibility, because I like staying accessible in a way, because I don't want to make something that's like, okay, look at this mad scientist creation I made, look how weird I can be, and then people listen to it and they're like, okay, that was cool, but I didn't feel anything from that. I feel like music is also about like feeling something, and so I think the main thing for me is, above all that other technical stuff, is like I want people to feel like inspired and energetic from the music, so that doesn't really all matter when it comes down to it. It's just about how people feel.
Yeah, that was one thing that stood out to me about you guys, because like even though you are like instrumental, you guys still have like this very accessibility and like listenability to like your music, and even though you don't have lyrics, it's like definitely a very like melodic kind of bounce and danceability to like all your songs and stuff.
Yeah, and it's fun, it's a little more unique, because I think also when you have a singer, like oftentimes you're really defined by that singer. Like you could be like the most killer guitarist, best drummer, best bassist, but if you have like a bad singer, then or if you have a singer that like, sometimes it's also like you have a singer, I'll like check out bands, or I'll have friends recommend bands, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I really like the band, but I don't like the singer. Like I don't like the way his voice sounds. It's like you can't really do anything about that, so. And also like language barrier is not a thing. Like we have so many fans from all over the world, and they send us messages in like Japanese and Spanish and like Polish, like whatever. And so it doesn't even matter, because it's like we're all just listening to the same thing, but there's no language,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but it definitely like makes it more kind of universal.
Totally.
So I guess, did you grow up in California?
Yes, I grew up in California. I basically lived here pretty much all my life. I moved around a bit, but California is definitely probably my favorite. It's hard to beat.
So I was asked like where people grow up, and like how do you think that influenced kind of your sound and your taste in music?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like I grew up in Long Beach, and that's where I live now. So it's just south of LA. So I mean, LA is like the music capital of the world. So I remember like even when I was younger, before I went to rock shows, my mom would take me to like, Philharmonic or the opera or like theater or whatever. It's all right there, and it's not like other cities don't have that, but LA is like one of the biggest in the United States for this stuff. Yeah. So, and you would meet like crazy famous people out of nowhere. Like my mom would like randomly text me sometimes, like shit, like just being like, oh, do you know this guy, Zach De La Rocha? And I'm like, wait, the guy from Rage Against the Machine? He's like, yeah, I'm at dinner with him. He's like at some thing with this girl, and like I'm sitting at a table with him. Like, can I say that like you know him? I'm like, of course I know him. Like, what? Like, how do you not know him? Like, but it's like that. It's one of those things. Like LA, everyone's here. So I mean, it's not that I could only do it here, but it does. I feel like it gives you so much of a cultural like advantage in terms of like what's here and what you get access to growing up. It's really, really like you're really privileged,
Definitely. I guess you guys talk about your social media presence. I think you guys do like a really good job of that. You have like a ton of like really cool like guitar videos and like little kind of meme videos and TikTok videos.
Yeah.
You consider that like very like an essential part of what the music kind of business is nowadays?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I think separates like the bands that really do well versus the ones that are still struggling to get like out there is like the social media. Cause like, I feel like back in the day, like, especially talking to like older professors at school or just like musicians that have done it a bit longer than me, it's like, back in the day, you get a record deal, and then this label's like, yeah, you're the new next whatever new metal band, and
Yeah.
then they put you on a tour with some bigger band, and then you would be like bad if you sold 50,000 copies. But if you sold 50,000 copies first week now, you're a highest charting rapper or something.
Yeah.
The game has totally changed. So like for us, it's like, we're never going to be Billboard, whatever, but it's not like we're trying to be. But what I think is important is to use social media, like for any band, but especially for us, like to connect with people that might be interested in like what we're doing. So yeah, it's like all of our personalities out there. And it's also just like, sometimes you just come up with a crazy idea like, hey, what if we did like, the Mario theme, but I did it like all on my guitar, and then like
I
we
definitely
just
watched
like,
that.
yeah, we just did it, yeah, we just did it all crazy, and like, and then people are like, whoa, let's check out these guys, like this is cool. And it's a cool gateway into the music too, because it's like if you like this, it's not too far off.
Yeah.
So, and then if not, you get someone who follows you, and maybe you'll come out with something that they do like. But it's definitely like not easy. It's not like an overnight thing where like some people, I think they post like one good TikTok and then their next, they're like going everywhere. It's definitely been like a slow, steady like uptick, but it's something that I think is easy because it's fun, and it's like I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. So
Okay, that's cool. And I mean, like you said, you kind of stick to what you're already doing anyway, so it doesn't seem too forced.
exactly. And I think that's when I think people burn out. It's like they're doing stuff they don't really want to do, you know.
Congrats on your new single, Cherry.
Yeah.
It came,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
um, how's the reception been to the new song?
Awesome. Yeah, I mean it's been different because again when the band started it was two of us and it's still two, but I've been adding like a lot more like synths and like percussion and like backing track elements like
Yeah,
sound effects.
yeah,
So what we do now is we just play to a backing track and then we just have those playing live. But it was really scary because especially rock bands get ripped a lot for using backing tracks. Like people are not the biggest fans.
yeah,
um it depends because I think the way that we do it, it's not like I'm finger syncing or anything or I'm like pretending to play,
yeah.
but some people use it that way, but it was a little scary. So that was one of those songs where I was like, this is more backing track than guitar, but also as a song I feel like this is really strong. And so I think I felt validated like by how the numbers have been, like how people have been like messaging me about it. I'm like, okay, cool, well, that was cool, I'm glad that I took that risk. But it's also like you don't want to come out with the same album over and over again. So it's cool to like evolve a bit and then see people like validate that. You know what I mean?
And you guys also had the video for it. It was a very fun video. I think you were in like the wash somewhere in LA with a bunch of skateboarders, right?
Yeah, that was for the other one. The one we just came out, we didn't have a video, but that was also a single that just came out before that called Cloudberry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I had that one.
No, but that was super fun. Like, it's funny because for that video, like, we wanted it to be kind of like more edgy, and like I was talking to my friend Cole who directed the video, and we've like known each other forever, like since we were 14. So he saw like all my other bands that didn't really do. We were just like messing around.
Yeah.
But he was like, dude, you should go all the way with this. Like, what if we had someone getting a tattoo like in the video, like in the riverbed? And then we realized like how unsanitary that was because we don't know what's been down there, and then someone's like getting a tattoo like down there. I feel like it just wouldn't have been the move. So yeah, I don't know. It was fun to do that too, to like express ourselves with the videos now.
Yeah, I think the videos I have seen, you guys have done very clean, looks very professional, and I think they're fun, like they're fun videos, and I think it matches the songs extremely well.
Thank you.
You guys also have an upcoming album called Fruit Town, July
Yeah.
22nd.
Yes, exactly.
So
Very-
build up to that, it's coming up here in like a week now, I think, and kind of what can people expect from it? What do you expect from it?
I'm just expecting, to tour because like last time we came up with an album also called, it was similar, it's called Fruit Island, and I was really happy about it. We were like, it was like a whole summer that we were promoting it, and then like the end of the summer it came out, and it was like really, really fun to like follow that process. But also it was COVID. So, people weren't taking, video requests. So I was filming all these videos like on my phone indoors. So it was like, it was a challenge, but at the same time, it was like, I feel like I almost got stunted in a way. Like I felt like it could have been bigger. So
Yeah.
this time there's very few restrictions that we've had. And so it's been really cool to like be like, all right, now we're going to go on a tour to support this, and we're going to go out there and play these songs like live, because some of the songs in the other album, like we never got to play them because it was just like, well, I wrote new music now. So I mean, I want to play some of the old stuff, but it's old now because of COVID. So it's like the first real album, I feel like. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to like get it out there. We have like vinyl. We've also been like selling tab books. So people, if they want to play the songs after the concert, they can come and buy tab book. So
Okay,
we already have tab books for those too. So
that's cool.
it's really cool to go out there and just be like, yeah, we have all this stuff, and it's like
That's awesome.
a real album.
So how was the kind of creative process behind the album? And then how would you say like it kind of evolved from like maybe some of your earlier stuff?
Sure, yeah. Like so again, it was like COVID times, you know, because we had just come out with that album, and so I was kind of just sitting at home like, all right, well, that came out, like of course, like people seem to like it, but also like I can't really do anything about it. Like I can't go out and play.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of like the live stream stuff, so I was like, I feel like the only option for me right now to like get my creativity out is just like sit at home and make as many songs as I can. So I demoed like a bunch of songs, and then a lot, again, like a lot of the stuff was adding synths, adding like a bunch of stuff that I wasn't used to, you know.
uh,
And so I must have at least had like 100 ideas and whittled that down to like 20 or so songs, like full songs. And then from there, I went to like, I think 11 tracks only. So it was really like a very intense like process. And like I was lucky to have like everything I needed to record at home. Cause again, like recording studios were like sometimes not available because of COVID. And then also like it was pretty expensive. And like I had pretty much sunk everything that I had saved while COVID wasn't a thing into the album, and then we couldn't really get that money back because we couldn't tour.
yeah,
Exactly. So I was like, you know, I'll just do this at home and see how it goes. And I was like, I felt like it sounded like weirdly better because I was like more in control.
yeah.
So it brought that side out that I didn't know. Like, oh, actually, if I'm in control of everything, it's not like it's not harder, it's easier. So it was cool. But I learned a lot about like how I write songs, and I think I really got to like it was a good use of that time where I wasn't going to be touring anyways. Because
Yeah.
some bands get so burnt because it's like they're touring 4 to 6 months a year. Then when they're not on tour, they're writing, and then if you don't write that song, you know, that hit in like a couple months, it's like, well, you have to write the songs you're going to tour on for the next 2 years. So it's like COVID kind of put the pause on that, and I feel like by doing that, sitting at home, like working on a bunch of demos and like trying new things, I really got to that next stage for the band, which was really good for us.
After talking to like a lot of artists over the last year or so, I think home studio has definitely kind of come back to the forefront for a lot of people. And I think a lot more artists are going to kind of stick to that route. A lot of them have said that they've actually enjoyed that more than going to studio.
100%. And like, I mean, the home studio has been a thing, you know, like SoundCloud rap's huge,
Sure.
bedroom pop's huge. But I think what COVID made us realize is like, it's not like a thing that's only for those genres. It can be for literally anything. And like, I totally agree with you. Cause now I'm like, now I'm even thinking like, I should just do everything at home. Like I should do like, even the mixing, I should do it myself next time maybe, or I don't know. But it's like, I guess it's not COVID time anymore, but it was cool to like build all this stuff, and like I have it right next to my bed, so I can roll out of bed and just start making stuff now, which is really awesome.
Cool. And I guess one thing I wanted to ask about is like kind of your songwriting process, because obviously you're not using lyrics and everything. Everything's coming through the instrument. So how do you think that differs for you from like maybe like writing some lyrics or something like that?
Yeah, of course. I think with a lot of like songwriting with lyrics, you're trying to tell a story, and I would argue guitar playing is similar, but it's a little different in that like I think the story can be amplified by like how much you can do on the guitar, because it's like everyone, I feel like most people could figure out like a chord on the guitar, and then that's really all you need like to tell a story, because you have a nice little like accompaniment or something, right? Or you can come up with like a riff or something. But with this kind of style, there's so many different more ways that like you can express yourself when there's no vocals. It's like, you know, you can do all sorts of like percussive techniques, like using the guitar like more like a drum, or you can be doing like more beautiful stuff because there's not that like whole space carved out for the vocal. So you can go play up higher on the neck, and you can also play like more harmonics and mess around with like different tunings as well, because with vocals it's like, again, you have to play in the key that the vocalist is going to sing in, but I can just do whatever I want now. So creatively, like I start out with just like maybe a new technique or a new idea or something, and then I try to just get some drums demoed out, and then usually I'll get those like over to Forrest, or in the future maybe somebody different who's going to be like playing those drums on the record. And then once I have those, I just get to work. I just start adding layers. I just start like taking things, I'll like rearrange it. So I'm really the one who's like in control, I guess. But the drums are a huge part of it, of course, because it's like a dialogue, because there's just two of us. So it's like maybe I'll do something and then the drums do it back to me, but then in rhythm. So we're like almost like having a conversation in a way. And but I think the biggest thing is always trying to like get a hook in there, because I think, again, like if it's a little too hard to follow for me, it's going to be really hard for someone else to follow, because I've been like writing music and going, I went to music school and stuff, so it's like I want to make it so that it's a nice pleasurable like listening experience.
Yeah.
It's not like too out there, you know. So I think once it goes through all of those checks and all that stuff, then I'm like, I just, you know, see if there's anything else that you can add like layer wise. And then it's like, all right, well, that was fun, like little journey, but it's definitely a little different than, I feel like some artists can just write like a pop song in like 15 minutes. Cause it's like, you just get a good chorus, you get like, you know, a good idea for verse 1, verse 2. And I feel like that's really all you need.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel interesting.
Which is dope. It's not like it's like worse or something, or I'm like better because I'm like doing all this like music stuff. It's like different. Yeah. And I admire that like a lot, because I could never write like good lyrics. Like I would write like, I don't even know what I would write, but something probably with fruit. But yeah, it's hard to make something that's relatable to a lot of people that's catchy.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm doing my form of that, but just with the guitar.
Cool. And in the future, you know, you guys are going on tour, or you're on tour now. What are the goals outside of the album?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, going on tour next week. So starting like the day before the album drops, just trying to get back to the, you know, places that we were before COVID, like visiting all those like places in the States, going to Canada. We want to go back to like Mexico, because we went there once and it was really, really great. People were like super stoked to see us. And I think they weren't exactly expecting us to play like the way we did, because we were really going like crazy like on stage, and they were just, I think, very taken aback, which I liked. People were like very shocked. They were like, okay, this is awesome. So I want to go back and put on like a really cool show. We might go to some other places too. Like we were thinking of going to like Japan. You also want to go down to Latin America and stuff. I've actually been like working on my Spanish, because I'm half Mexican, but my Spanish is like pretty shit. So I want to get my Spanish good, so when we go down to Mexico or Latin America, I can like talk to the crowd in Spanish. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, just going to some new places, and also just trying to like play with other cool bands that do what we do. So I guess just keep an eye out, and we're going to try to stay active for as long as possible now that COVID is not really as big of a deal. You know? Yeah.
This sounds awesome. You know, can't wait to check out the new album coming out next week, July 22nd.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have like a kind of rollout plan for that. And yeah, I mean, links are all going to be down below for everybody watching and listening, and go catch them on tour.
Sweet. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Good talking to you, and catch you guys later.